I was told that in public, you can be as intimate as you want and it doesn't creep people out. I'll let you take that for what that's worth. This is my goal in the next 40 minutes, okay? One, I want to get a ton of interaction from you. I want this to very much be a workshop, okay, where you get a ton of interactivity. And I also want to set the ostentatious goal, okay? You guys ready for this? I want to be your entire ROI for the entire semester that you spent in tuition. I want to be your entire ROI for what you guys had to pay to be on campus. Is anybody out of state? Because out of state people pay a little bit more in tuition. Out of state people? Okay, so I'll try to meet your out of state ROI. And the reason for that is I believe that there's a bunch of things that we can do that couple the fact that we are academically qualified to get into a grade school. Well, you guys are, because I didn't get to go to the school. I went to a different school. But coupling academic qualification with being street smart, with having the nitty-gritty coupled effect of being street smart, where it's a person who hustles. When I say the word street smart, what do you guys think of? When I say the word street smart, what do you guys think of?
Good social skills.
Okay, good social skills.
Quick on your feet.
Quick on your feet.
Witty.
Shrewd negotiating.
Like it. Witty. Who said witty? Is that Pamela?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll creep you out because I'm the speaker who, like, midway through some random like event, I'll be like, Jackie, 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 and then she'll be like, weird. And that's why, oh, there's this other thing, and you guys got to remind me to cover some of this stuff, which is alpha, beta, gamma, okay? So somebody remind me to talk on that because it's genius, genius stuff. If you're taking notes, or if you need paper to take notes, I'm going to be giving you guys a bunch of scandalous stuff, so it's like, jot a couple things down. Remember, I want to be your ROI. I want to be your ROI. I want, before you guys leave here today in 38 minutes, I want you to be able to copy, paste, and execute on a volunteerish thing, okay, that you can get a ton of credit for, that you can build your personal brand on. So witty, quick on your feet. What was the next one? When I say street smart, what do you guys think?
I said shrewd negotiator.
Shrewd negotiator. I don't even know how to spell shrewd. That's okay. Other things when I say street smart. How about networking at a party that you were not invited to?
Sure.
Did anybody, boss? Yes. Most of the time in this lifetime, okay? Most of the time in this lifetime, we will report to some kiss-ass person who went to some kind of crappy school, okay? That is the person that you will call boss. Yeah, exactly. That's a reaction you should have. If you look at the top law firms, okay, before I released my book, What They Don't Teach at Stanford Business School, I got to speak at Harvard Law School, which is strange because I'm speaking in a school that I could never get into. If you look at the law firms, and this is staggering, and this opened my eyes because I was raised Asian, because my mom was Asian, and so was my dad. It's only worse in rooms of Asian people, and in the Bay Area. I was shocked to find out that the managing director, the guy who started the law firm, if you look at the docket, it's all Harvard, 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 Stanford, Harvard, you know, and on down, great schools. And what you'll see is the guy who started the law firm, some random night school law degree. And it struck me as being interesting in that why is it that a lot of these firms are started by a basic retard who couldn't get into and had to study nighttime law school? And it's because that guy is willing to fail forward, which is actually chapter 11 of my book. So I'm going to try to cover and stay to what I'm here to talk about, which is scandalous things in and around volunteership. But I wanted to kind of give you the backdrop for why some of these things that are street smart and maybe cause you to ask questions of how can I be personally more street smart. And one of the things that looking around this room that you guys might have a hard time with is what do you guys think when I say the word personal brand? When I say the word So let's pick a, what was your first name again?
Karen.
Karen. Okay, so Karen, your last name is?
Wong.
Okay, so
W-O-N-G.
when I say the word building the Karen Wong personal brand, what kind of words and images come to your mind?
My mind?
Yes, when I say let's build the Karen Wong personal brand. You're a junior, you're a third year?
Sophomore.
Sophomore, okay. So when I say let's build the Karen Wong personal brand, what do you think of?
Like a bunch of clones of myself.
Okay, okay. When I say the word personal brand to you guys, what do you guys think of?
Resume.
Okay, resume? Did you say resume?
Yeah.
Okay,
Elevator pitches.
okay.
Personality.
There's no wrong answers here. Personality, okay. What was your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Building your personal brand is one of the things that, in my theory, according to me, that younger people have a hard time with because they don't believe that they should be a personal brand. Where if you're producing an awesome event, it's very difficult to separate the person who spoke at the event, produced the event, that person gets the majority of credit for that event. Do you guys argue that that is true or no? So when you are the point person for, let's say you're doing a camp for kids with cancers, or kids whose parents have cancer, okay, and you're the person who speaks to the parents and welcomes the kids, that's the person who gets a lot of the credit. And that's kind of the thing that is difficult, I think, for undergrads, especially, it seems like a lot of the room's Asian, for Asian undergrads to do, is to actually take and grab that credit for something that you did. I had to convince Jimmy, I'm gonna call you out here, but I had to convince Jimmy to like take the credit for a big portion of a huge production that he did, that him and his team did a lot of the work on. Where it's counterintuitive and sometimes against our Asian nature to take and assume and hijack that credit. So I'm going to transition that, okay, to actually producing an event and hijacking somebody else's event. Now this is the most scandalous thing that you can do, okay, is to hijack somebody else's event. Now I'm not talking about taking it over like the old days, okay, if I were to say in 1970 or even like early 2000, if I were to say hijack, okay, that would be taking a jet off its intended course and completely taking it over in a non-value added way. The method and the madness that I'm using the word hijack is I want to hijack your event to make it better. See, I have this theory that there's 650 little things to do with an event. And there's no possible way for any event producer to do more than 450 of those things. Let me repeat that. There's 650 possible things to do for an event. It is almost impossible to do more than 400. Most events that kind of suck, okay, it was okay, that's about 300, okay? It was pretty good. That's over 375, okay? Oh, that event was awesome. One of the best events I've ever been to. That conference producer did over 400 of 650 things. When you say it's awesome, that party, that promotion, that event did more than 400 of those possible 650 things. What I'm coaching you guys to do in a value-added hijack kind of way, so those three words, value-added hijack, is to do 20 more things to add to his possible of 650 things to do. Is anybody lost or confused at this point? And this is how it applies in the real world. So let's say that there's a real event and you want to augment the attendee's experience by hosting or co-hosting a volunteer event, okay? So let's say you wanted to do a toy drive, or let's say you wanted to fundraise for people like a human slavery or human trafficking awareness building event. You can augment the experience and build awareness for that at a different venue that exists that has similar people in attendance. I'm starting to get some blanks there, so I'm totally open for questions. And you guys also write down my cell phone number because I'm going to be presenting a decent amount of information. And I want to try to get your guys' feedback right away. So here, jot down my cell phone number. It's 650 650-283-8008. 650-283-8008. In a room this small, I encourage you guys to just raise your hands or just start talking, or you can just text in a question so that way if you are, I know, right? So if you guys are on your PDA, because you guys check out after like 20 minutes, which hopefully you won't do, then I'll just be like, oh, they're just sending me a question. They're just drafting me a question. But it's 650-283-8008. 650-283-8008. That's a pretty advanced strategy for producing an event. How many people have hosted or produced an event? Awesome. What were some of your guys' challenges in hosting and producing an event? You can just blurt out. Challenges in hosting or producing an event.
Budget.
Budget, okay.
Resources.
Nice.
Labor organization.
Nice.
Logistics.
It's my theory that you can augment anybody's conference experience with something called an after party. Okay, and I'm not talking the rap star after party. I'm talking the after party that is 30 minutes to 90 minutes after somebody else's event. People oftentimes forget to produce an after party. So if you've got an author that's doing a book signing from 7 to 9, you can do an author book signing after party for no money. The people are already there, and the venue to select for an after party, usually that same venue that they're at. And you get credit for extending the time and then bringing more people in. There's this post I wrote, it's called How to Hack an After Party. You can do it for no money. How to hack an after party. You can do it for no money. Resources, they're already there. You call or do it across the street. So wherever the event happened, just put a pin drop there, and if it's across the street, across the block, upstairs, downstairs, that's the way to augment and build your guys' event by piggybacking on somebody else's event. So that's a huge hack. It's called How to Hack an After Party. You don't have to do it if it's at a conference area. You don't have to do open bar. You don't even have to provide a bunch of food. Providing a theme and then in trying to infuse a couple more people into that event. Does anybody have questions on that? When you guys produce a party, who raised their hands for who's produced an after party? Okay, so what were some of the guys' challenges that you guys in producing something? Was anybody worried in producing a party that nobody would come? Nobody would be worried about that?
No, I would.
Okay, so so honestly, who would be worried about hosting an event where nobody comes? Okay, the majority of this room. I've got a great cheat for that, okay, which is you identify a group of people that are already going to be coagulating or collecting, and you take that pre-assembled list, because inviting people cold to an event, really hard, extremely hard. Leveraging somebody else's pre-existing event and adding a little bit of value. So before I talk about 650 little things, I'm talking about ordering balloons, setting up flyers, getting a speaker. I mean, there's 650 little things. Adding 20 to 30 things to somebody's 650 things is a way to value-added hijack that event. And if you're going to volunteer for something, or if you're going to co-produce something, the value is in trying to take the people that are pre-existing, so the agenda of the people that are already meeting up, and then adding, infusing, and augmenting that conference / meeting / education experience using something called the after party. Okay, so not like the rap star after party, but like an after event. And then the other thing too is trying to incorporate some kind of celebrity-ified component to it, because people are drawn to that. It could be as junior of a celebrity as a person who wrote a book or was on a show or has some kind of following, to a traditional celebrity. And I want to give you a script for how it is that you talk to a person who is a traditional celeb, or either on the phone or in person. Actually, let's hit that right now. Events that have a celebrity in attendance go much, much sexier than events with just a bunch of people who are kind of random without a theme. And people love a theme. And this is the way that I cheated volunteership, which I established early on a consumer advocacy truth, meaning I align myself with youth at risk. I accidentally started 2 organizations. One was Asian Americans for Action, and the other one was United College Marketing Services, based on youth at risk. The Asian Americans for Action was simply having a bunch of people who normally volunteer for stuff. Usually volunteership when I was in school was picking up trash and making $4 to $8 an hour doing kind of grunt stuff that wasn't so great. What I did was I did toy drives and tried to incorporate celebs into hosting parties, because parties were difficult to throw and difficult to promote, and they still are. And grabbing a celebrity and augmenting what it is that a celebrity has, which is he wants a turnkey thing. There's this thing on how to hack an after party. Point number 1 is multiple party agenda fulfillment. You can get access to anybody knowing what their agenda is or guessing at their agenda. It's called multiple party agenda fulfillment because it's not just a win-win where it's 2 parties, it's 5 parties. So the celeb's got an agenda, his studio's got an agenda, the speaker bureau's got an agenda, some new film studio, they've got an agenda. There's a lot of different people with different agendas, and that's the way to hack and get access to that celebrity. Any questions so far?
I mean, can you elaborate on that? It sounds really abstract.
Okay, perfect, I will. So when you're talking to a celebrity, okay, so let's say you've got your cause, okay, and everybody pick in their mind a cause or an intention that they have. Does everybody have that in their mind? Some kind of consumer advocacy truth. So Karen, what's yours? Or somebody else? Picking a consumer advocacy truth and then not necessarily being falsely passionate about it, but what is something that you can do in your time to cause a positive effect, a community effect. And the reason that we're looking for a consumer advocacy truth, it's okay that you don't have one, sorry to put you on the spot. The reason that it's an awesome thing to get, okay, is that you get all the momentum from that cause with other people who share that similar passion. Let me repeat that. Finding a consumer advocacy truth allows you to connect with somebody who has that similar passion for that cause. One of the hardest things that I've found when I was an undergrad is the catch-22 of being an undergrad. I can't get the certain job because I don't have the experience, and I can't get the experience unless somebody was trying to give me that job. The opposite of that, catch-22, is killing 5 birds with 1 stone. And that's where I think volunteership then couples in, because if you volunteer for something, your Rolodex expands, you get credit for producing an awesome event, okay? You literally can kill 5 birds with 1 stone by augmenting a conference or an experience or a party. And that's also a way that, okay, so let me go specifically into celebrities and how to get access to a celebrity. First thing that happens when you're face to face with a celebrity, okay, is he or she is either in transit, en route, and it's just okay. So everybody picture their favorite celebrity in their mind. Okay, I'm picturing Brad Pitt. Everybody picture a celebrity in their mind. Okay, now that celebrity, okay, if they come to your rinky-dink little after party or an event, okay, how much better would that event be? Astronomically better, right? I believe that there's 3 pillars in doing volunteer work: fundraising, philanthropy, and PR. Fundraising, philanthropy, and PR. It's a killer combination of awesome sauce, and it helps you because you're getting the PR for whatever. So when your potential employer is Googling you, okay, immediately is, oh my God, this is an awesome thing. I can't believe they did it as an undergrad. There's this person, his name's Corey Levy. He produced a conference at Stanford as a high school kid from Texas. Think about that. produced a conference at Stanford with marquee speakers as a high school student at Stanford. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do within bounds. But everyone talks about how things are getting faster and things are changing much, much quicker. And your creative energy, as far as how it applies to events and planning, you can do a lot of different things. So let's go back to the celebrity. So everybody have their favorite celebrity in mind? Okay. This is this basic script that you want to use for if you're meeting somebody that is of importance, okay? It's a huge way to either get access to an interview or to get a celeb to come to your event, or at least increase that probability. Okay, are you ready? So I wanted to say hi to you, Brad, but I'm a huge fan. But I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to get an introduction to your person who manages, who's a personal manager for your toy drive, or if you're even thinking about doing a toy drive. My passion, my consumer advocacy truth, and that's where you fill in the blank of this is what I'm passionate about, and I'd love to pitch your manager, your agent, versus, and you're setting aside the fact that you're a fan. So let me repeat that. So if you're meeting a person that's of importance, okay, hey, I'm a fan of your work, but I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to get an introduction to the person who is your gatekeeper. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to tease that person initially with your consumer advocacy truth, your passion, because remember, that's the thing that gets rid of your catch-22. So hopefully you'll share that passion. If not, he'll be able to just throw you off to the side, which is what he's looking for, which is, yeah, great, here's my person. So he's got one of two good choices for him, because every celebrity wants to basically extend and escape from an interaction, or at least have the option to. And that is initially saying, I would love an introduction to your person. So he can do one of two things. Oh yeah, sure, here you go. This is my gatekeeper person. Or he can then say, no, tell me more about saving Tibetan kids who are 12 years old to have 3 or fewer toys. Whatever it is that you are having as your consumer advocacy truth, which is why it's important to get a consumer advocacy truth, some passion, some pain point that you're trying to solve. Or if you've got a person if you've got a previous cause or event, hey, I've got a 4-year annual event where we're bringing kids whose parents who have cancer in, and I'd love to have you speak, but you know what? You're not the person. I would love to talk to your manager, the person who does your scheduling for that. So he feels important and awesome, and he's able to say, yeah, talk to Stanley. He's the person that coordinates my schedule for that stuff. And what you're doing is you're getting a warm intro to his advanced scheduler. If he's a politician, it's an advanced scheduler. If it's a celebrity that's traditional, it's a manager. Or if it's an exec, it's a personal assistant. Here's also a huge way, okay, to hack and get any CEO's cell phone number. Okay. This is a great way to get a litmus test for where you stand with a person who's potentially hiring you, potentially going to donate money, potentially going to attend an event. When you get to a certain amount of progress with that person, ask, hey, is it okay if I have your cell phone number? So let's role play, I want somebody to be really harsh with me, and we'll role play grabbing a person's cell phone number. Would that be helpful? Going through some of the mechanics of it? I need somebody to be an uber huge jerk to me.
Jimmy.
Somebody else besides Jimmy. Jimmy's gonna be way too nice. I need a person who's gonna be really, really jerky. And the reason we're going through this exercise, this is your guys' value, is I want you to be able to ask outlandish things. Because a person who's academically smart, they hate to hear the word no. And the reason you guys go to a really good school is to get a bunch of offers and to never really hear the word no. And remember, who runs the best law firms and who started the best law firms? People that did not go to very good schools. So that's why I'm trying to cross-train and do some of the street smart stuff. So who wants to be the really big jerk?
Randy.
Nice. You're Kevin?
Kenny.
Kenny, okay.
Did I just get volunteered?
You just get volunteered.
Oh, man.
Kenny, it's been awesome talking to you about do something and having you potentially speak. That's really, I really appreciate it. You know what, you seem really busy. Why don't you introduce me? You seem like you're writing still. You know what?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. Okay, stop. Do you see how what I'm doing is I'm giving him an out, and I'm confidently trying to retract and not impede on him. But human nature being what it is, he begins to eventually feel sorry for me. As soon as he says go on, that's what's called the 30-second time extension. 30-second time extension, huge. Okay, when I presented this at a different school, not as good as this school, but a different school, one person was like, oh my gosh, are you a pickup artist? It's similar method in selling, and if you want to get street smart, sell something or promote something that somebody else built or did. That's one of the most awesome things that you can do for an internship moving ahead, is to sell or promote somebody else's work. Because there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to sell and promote your own work. Very difficult to do. If I wrote a line of computer code that does something and you don't like it, I rework on my computer code. I don't rework on my selling skills. Or if you don't like my book, or you book a different speaker for your next event, I go back and work on my book versus working on my selling skills. That's why it's great to promote and sell something else that you did not own or start. And also with volunteering, similar, where if you're actually able to promote somebody else's group or cause, you get a skill set that develops that very few people have. And also volunteership, what's awesome about volunteering is you can play and fail and not have to worry about your own primary brand getting sullied, because you're just playing with volunteership and you're playing with a toy drive that you can do before December. So let's continue. So initially Kenny said, no, go on. That gives me a 30-second extension to then talk or interact with them. So let's start over again, and I want you to try to be a bigger jerk to me, okay? Bigger jerk.
Okay.
Kenny, it's been really awesome talking.
I told you this cancel the Westgate thing. What the hell? Margo! Give me my fucking coffee. Yes.
Do you see what I'm doing right now? What I'm doing is I'm unsquaring my shoulder. You know what, actually, why don't you stand? This is really important. I have the argument, okay, that 55% of communication is physiological, 38% is tonality, 7% are the words, okay? Perfect opportunity when a person's screaming on the phone. Ann was talking to me, and let's say they just pick up the phone, okay? What I do is I don't square my, so then your phone's to your ear, okay? I don't square here, okay? I wait. This is also part of how to network at a party that you were not invited to, okay? So let's say he's got a person, and let's further complicate it, okay? Let's bring up Stanley. Okay, you know how like when you're at an event or a party and there's 4 people in what's called a rock pile? How do you break into that rock pile? So Jimmy, why don't you stand? What was your name? Daniel, okay. So you guys stand in a rock pile, okay? So you guys stand in a rock pile. And remember, this is one of the most difficult social circumstances, okay, to crack, which is I'm trying to get to Kenny's information and he's got a rock pile going, okay? So he's got 2 buffers, his personal buffer zone, okay, and his phone. Okay, so he's doing 2 things. So what I'm gonna do is I will work here, okay? I will work here, and then if Jimmy's nice, he'll open. But do you see how what just happened? He opened a little bit. And I'm in. But if, let's say that they're being bigger jerks, they're gonna close and huddle up. Now I know that this is very similar to like a clubbing situation, okay? It is, all right? It is. You never attack, okay? You never attack from the rear. Oh my God. I never understood that, okay? You hit it from the flank, okay, or from the front. When you're completely on the side, okay, or from, people don't have any idea where you're, and it's being proximity available, okay, it's showing the confidence to stand and do nothing, okay. There's two things that are really hard in public speaking. Not saying anything, okay? And when you're at an event, not saying anything. Standing there like you're just waiting. Because when you wait long enough and you're comfortable not doing anything, there have been studies that have shown effective speakers, it's not what it is that they said or what resonates, it's what they do when they're not talking. If you want to be a great public speaker, okay, don't say anything during certain gaps. So at an event, this is how this hack works. When you're at an event, okay, and you're waiting to talk to a person, wait nearby, okay, wait nearby, close enough proximity to reach and touch. That's about the rule of thumb, okay? So you're trying to get this person's cell phone number, okay? So Kenny's got his buffer and his cell phone out, okay? So what I'll try to do is be within arm's length distance. As soon as he provides eye contact or any kind of shoulder opening, that's when I have 5 to 10 seconds. Do you guys agree with me so far? Do you guys see how that might play? And then you've got 5 to 10 seconds. Kenny, and then, so let's say I'm like, arms like, you know, I'll be right here. Perfect. As soon as that was a glance over, okay? I'll take a glance over. I will take a glance over all day long, okay? You glance and shoulder open, okay? I'm in. Okay, I'm in. And I want you to say no to me. Hey, Kenny, you and I talked about the Do Something event, and I would love to have you speak. Yeah. Whatever. Sure, email me. That's great that I'm going to email you, and you know what, it'd be great if you gave me your cell phone number too. No. You can't have my cell phone number. Just email me. In fact, I don't even know my own cell phone number. Kenny, give me your cell phone number. I promise I won't call you after 2 a.m. or some inappropriate time. It's funny, and it's weird, and it's funny, because then he's like, okay. Dealing with how that person says no is everything, which is what people who are academic, you guys can sit down now, thank you for volunteering. Dealing with a no, dealing with a temporary no is huge. And there's this article that's wooing people to yes, learning to love no. If you want to get the synopsis for being slightly more street smart in doing volunteering, or being slightly more street smart in doing a job interview or any kind of interaction, it's handling no's and putting yourself in a position where they might say no. If they might say no and you deal with that no in a way that you are comfortable, you will have 2, 3, 5x the results that somebody else has. I have this theory for academically smart people, which you guys all are, I'm assuming. Is that a bad assumption? No, it's not. That coupling in street smart things for a group that is academically well qualified gets you much different results. And the things that got us into a good school are not the same things that help us succeed after that, where it's an interesting transition, where the transition from high school to college, the transition from college to working. And that's where you guys have a huge opportunity, because you're doing volunteership with, everyone talks about extracurriculars, extracurricular activities are important, extracurricular activities make or break a difference. This is why, because it's teaching you to produce and to live in that mediocrity of that uncertainty of producing, of volunteering, and volunteering also helps you manage older people, okay? Has anybody ever managed like an older person, like 30, 40 years old, or having to coordinate hands? A completely eye-opening experience when you manage an older person, because typically you manage a person who's a year or two younger than you, typically. And once you manage an older person, and also when people talk about how organizations are flattening out, correct? The reason that organizations are flattening out is because skill sets are starting to ebb and flow. And there's this phrase that's so popular in management, it's called managing up. Okay, you guys have heard of it, I'm sure. Who's had an internship where their boss is pretty much an idiot? Nobody's boss who's an idiot? Nobody's had a boss who's an idiot? when you're managing up, okay, when you're managing up in an organization, when organizations get flat, knowledge tends to silo, and you will be in a situation where the fact that you recently went to school, the difference between a person who's a third year to a 30-year-old has never been smaller. Let me repeat that. A person who's a third year in school and a 30-year-old has never been smaller. The difference between a person who's a third year in school, knowledge-wise, and a 30-year-old, 30-year-old, has never been smaller. And one of the key critical tasks that you guys can have is in managing up, okay? And managing up entails providing simple snippet emails. And when you're following up from an event, the person who's academically smart ends up doing one or at most 2 emails to a person they're trying to influence or talk to. Like before, when Kenny was a jerk to me, okay? Guess what? When Kenny gives me his email address, he's gonna ignore me for 1, 2, maybe 3 times. But one of the things that Kenny will not do is Kenny will not ignore me 5 to 10 times over the course of 2 months. And those are some of your best relationships. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
We're talking about coupling street smart with academic smart. Thank you for coming. So let's say Kenny was initially a jerk to me, right? He's gonna ignore the next 2 to 5 emails. But I'm gonna make a huge impression when I'm sending that 7th or 8th email, especially if I've met him once person to person. And that celebrity that you wanna get that's gonna improve your philanthropy event or your fundraising event or help you do PR, that celebrity's PR person will not respond the first 1 or 2. And that's a huge difference when you're academically well qualified, is you would think counterintuitively that one email, oh, they didn't see it, they're not interested in doing it, I'm not gonna email them anymore. When the average number of emails that you've gotta send is between 5 to 20. The reason I have an awesome Rolodex, and the reason that I think that you can graduate with the high starting salary, is I heard the word no coming out of Illinois for engineering. I heard the word no at least 40 times more than everybody else who's interviewing for that same engineering job. It's a numbers game. Email, also critical for if you're producing events. The email list that you guys have and that you guys build and that you guys have as a Rolodex, if you can manage and build it from the time that you're 18, 19, 20 to the time that you're 25, nobody manages their emails. People kind of just see it as spam, or they see it as whatever contacts, and they say, oh, we'll just connect via Facebook, or they'll just put a Facebook update status. If you want to hack your Rolodex, set goals for how many emails of important people that you get, and then manage and maintain and woo and charm. And I'm going to tie this back to the original thing, which is alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, alpha, beta, gamma. There's alpha people, there's beta people, and there's gamma people. Okay, alpha people, gamma people, beta people. Alpha, beta, gamma. There's 3 levels. There's also those same 3 levels for mentorship. Mentorship, where you're learning from an alpha who's a brand name, a beta who's your cohort, or a gamma who's a junior mentor. So your superstar mentor, your cohort mentor, your junior mentor. And if you're producing a volunteer event, there's somebody who's produced a super similar event to that event that you can copy paste. Nearly similarly copy paste. So if they did it for slave trafficking awareness building, you can also do a similar event for kids whose parents have cancer. And the reason I bring up alpha, beta, and gamma is you want to practice as being academically smart people, learning from a junior mentor. Okay, we're learning from a cohort mentor because it keeps your mentorship muscles, because typically mentorship muscles active. Because typically you learn from a person who stands in the front of the room, okay, versus a person who's extremely very much your junior. And that's a pretty important thing to have in your arsenal, is to not just learn from alphas, but to learn from betas and gammas as well. And if you guys get to producing a decent event, really treasuring the people that you meet and talk to. Like Ricky, I met Ricky sophomore, junior year, and he's just another kid who was just around, and he sent me a couple of emails, and not managing that would keep me from having met Jimmy. And that's important for when you get to my age, because then other people start passing you up. And the reason people won't pass me up as quickly, or that that process is delayed is the fact that you recognize people who are your cohorts and who are your junior who are going to be accelerating up that curve. Now, on the flip side, since you guys are on the beginning part of that curve, a lot of alpha people do this technique, which is they're trying to figure out who the rising stars are. Okay? They're trying to figure out who the rising stars are because alphas, okay, they don't do a whole lot of work. I mean, does my face look stressed? Do I look 40-something years old? Don't I look pretty fresh? Okay, you know why, okay? I haven't worked a solid week since like the 90s. And that's because you start to live off of other people's work. Is that scandalous? Is that bad? That's what most alphas do. All they do is just get comfortable. Oh, he's great at reading people. He's great at picking out talent. Well, that's because he doesn't work all day and he just stares at people and just goes to party. All right? Oh, he's a great talent picker. If you look at like a bunch of movies, all the top stars are able to pick out talent. We, as undergrads, we want to be picked out as the rising talent to then partner with. Ever wonder why Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, they always couple up with a male lead actor? What's your guys' favorite movie? Favorite movie off the top of your head? Stanley, before you leave, your favorite movie, and then we'll talk about you when you're gone.
Little Miss Sunshine.
I didn't see that movie. I didn't see that movie. So Greg Kinnear was in it, and somebody else. Well, the person who coupled with the kid ended up stealing the show. So marking yourself as a rising star helps you get access to other celebrities who then want to work with you, and you try to build your personal brand and reputation there. What questions you guys have for me? Was this like too mishmash of a random presentation? Thoughts?
So how do you know when you go from just being like really persistent and sending them like lots of emails to like really annoying and creepy?
This is how I view it, okay? So the question is how many emails is too many emails? As a person coming from a great school, there is no amount of creepiness that is too creepy. I was told by my friends who are of the opposite sex that I cannot be creepy enough to the opposite sex. I know, right? And the reason for that is that I argue that you guys should err on the side of being more stalkerish, especially if it's via email, okay? Because what'll happen is this, okay? So let's say, what celebrity person do you want to get access to, as a for example? What was your name again?
Anna?
Anna.
Natalie Portman.
Okay, perfect. So Natalie Portman. Let's say you're trying to get her to support some event that you guys might be doing, or make an appearance, or sign a shirt or something. Let's say this person also went to your school, or let's say that there's some kind of commonality. Celebrities, okay? This is the vanity of seeing behind the veil curtain. Celebrities love to brag about who it is that's trying to get access to them, okay? Or the things that they're saying no to. There's nothing that makes a celebrity more unhappy than no longer getting pestered. Let me repeat that. There's nothing that bugs a celebrity more, okay, than not getting pestered. Drives a celebrity crazy. In fact, some celebrities won't go to events where there are other celebrities because they don't get pestered as much. That simple dynamic I bring up because I say err on the side of being overly stalkerish, especially if you are a student, because people want, hey, there's a bunch of kids at Cal, they're always emailing me, oh, I'm so popular. They don't say, oh, I'm so popular, but that's what they're saying to themselves, is that they want more pestering, especially if you do so in a value-added way. Waves of emails, especially if it's via email. Via cell phone is a little bit more challenging, but not, okay? Have you ever seen a celebrity's cell phone, okay, or a person who's decently good looking? Their cell phone goes crazy all the time. They're always getting text messages. So you being message number 12 of 300 plus text messages that they get is okay. And what's also a great dynamic is celebrities, and people in general, are starting to get a lot fewer phone calls. People just aren't out on their phone as much and they're doing text message. Or I would argue that text messaging is the new email, which is why I go right for the cell phone number. So in Kenny's situation, when he was kind of being rude to me, I'd be like, I'd love to grab your cell phone number. Oh, no, just email me. Emailing is best. I promise I won't call you like at an inappropriate time. And it's sort of funny, and you proceed forward. If you don't hear one or two no's, you're not pressing hard enough. And does that answer your question?
What if it's an employer?
Even better. Even better. Okay. So let's say you applied for a job and they said no. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
And then you get that no. In academia, once you get that rejection letter, you don't show up. Right? In the street smart world, you keep on asking because that is going to pan out for you. I actually got into SC's film school from the back door. And this is also the other thing which I kind of know a thing or two about, which is at Stanford. I went to Illinois, by the way. Stanford Business School admits people that never applied. It admits people off the wait list. You name a brand name person who went to Stanford Business School, a lot of times the more successful ones, because they were street smart, they never got in legitimately. So when you're talking about a job, especially for a job, the reason for that is this. They want to tell you no, so that way they want to see how you deal with that stress or that difficulty. Because when you're at that firm and you need a yes from somebody outside that firm, they want to know that you'll do the same things once you join their firm. There's this type of interview, it's called a stress interview. Has anyone ever heard of a stress interview? It used to be extremely popular.
Is that where they tell you to like try to open a stuck window or something?
Yeah, you open a stuck window, or the person that you're talking to is abysmal. Do you see Men in Black? Okay, well there's this movie, it's Men in Black, and 4 people are interviewing for this job. Will Smith, who's a New York City cop, some cadet who's awesome, some naval officer who's awesome, some Air Force person who's awesome. They're all taking a standardized test, okay? And they don't have a surface to write on. So one guy's writing like upside down but not really filling it out. Another person's like kind of on the person's back, writing it on his knee. And then Will Smith's the only person who takes a huge piece of furniture, okay, and drags it 15 feet, making this huge horrible noise. So guess who wins that test? The guy who moves the piece of furniture. And that's what a stress interview is, or a group interview. A group interview is just looking for how well you listen and how well you deal with stress. So, especially for an interview, keep on hitting that person's email. If you do get that person's cell phone number, put that cell phone number in the subject line. And if you can't get that person's cell phone number, put your own cell phone number in the subject line. You want to be able to make getting in touch with you super easy. You want a huge hack with email? Put your cell phone in the subject line. Most people look at it on a PDA. Most people look at people's emails on a PDA. I want to be able to one-click call a person. You've heard of one-click purchasing on Amazon. Why not one-click follow-up? Because the person who reads your 3-paragraph email, they're not going to send you 4 paragraphs back or even 1 line, but they will call you. Putting yourself in the subject line is huge to be able to influence a person. And then waves a campaign of emails. You meet a person, ping them back, and I'll go over that too. I'll answer this, Dan.
Yeah, I had one big question and like a small question you answered. Like, could you kind of go over? Okay. Can you like just go over like the whole like planning stage of an event? That's
Sure.
kind of a big question, just like from beginning to end and
Sure.
how you would add value, and also like the 6-figure thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one too.
Okay. Can we use an example that you're doing so that way we can do like a workshop, or did you want me to just go over the last thing that I planned?
I don't know.
Let's do yours.
Okay, well, I just did like a human trafficking.
Okay, the
awareness
slavery one?
week, yeah.
Okay. Was this a week ago?
It was last week.
Okay, and then are you going to run another one soon?
No.
Okay, was it a standalone event? These are all questions that you want to ask yourself. If you write these down, these totally help. Is it a standalone event that you did?
Yeah. What do you mean by standalone?
Was there anything before it or after it?
No.
Okay. That's this person, this general, okay, Charlemagne, he used to let the earth, the wind, the trees, the birds, the lake be his ally. And that's how you want to host an event. Is that weird? Because that's how you'd win everything, is you're like, oh, it's going to storm tomorrow, and they're pushing on the lake, and I'm attacking from the high ground. Whereas before, people used to just stand and just shoot at each other. Okay, and he would use the environment around him. And that's how producing a party is too, is are you doing an island, or are you taking some kind of week, an awareness building week? You can also, if I were doing human trafficking awareness, okay, I would create my own week in June, or March, or February. And be, this is Slavery Awareness Week. And then have it be, maybe a week before Valentine's Day. I'm hijacking the day 11/11/11 because 24 ones in a row is good for credit. And a bunch of people, for a joke, actually started Larry Chiang Day. And then I might get a Google Doodle. How scandalous is that for 11/11? Who wishes on 11/11? Does anybody do that? See? Yeah, I'm hijacking the wish day. So you've got a standalone day, okay? You've got a standalone party. Have you thought about doing a week? Have you thought about giving awareness to other people's org that are similar?
Yeah, like we actually did a week where we had something on Scroll, which is like the buzzer in the center, and then we just had a tent, and then we were doing like student interviews on what they thought about human trafficking, and also like a donation box, and then picture pops where they could wear a shirt that says the color of freedom, and then we had a movie screening on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, movie screening a movie like Born Apostles, and then we tried to promote Not for Sale, which is bigger.
So are you thinking about doing a sequel event to this, or a prequel? These are all things that you want to ask yourself, is can you run a sequel, can you run a prequel? Did you guys know that the most profitable movies, okay, are prequels? Where Casper the Friendly Ghost, okay, there's a prequel for that thing. And that guy gets financing every time, because it's a prequel. He buys those rights. So that's the same thing that we want to ask for your event, is your next event, can you do a prequel to some other event? Am I helping you, or am I confusing you? Did I see the confusion? So you've got a week, okay?
Yeah.
You have a couple of email addresses that I'm assuming that you got
Yeah.
from people that
Yeah.
participated.
Yeah, right.
I would take some of those things and then look to try to do an event or a time that has a couple of different facets. A celebrity, is there a celebrity that supports human trafficking or is against, or
Yeah, there's a lot, but I can't name one.
Okay, just because they're invited, okay, doesn't mean if they don't show, it's still okay. So long as they donate some token thing or some supportive thing. Is it Tori Amos? She's huge into some kind of artist, some kind of thing where you're helping that person with their agenda. Do you have a short list on celebs? You have my cell phone number too, and we can actually go through some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But cold calling the manager and asking that person who's got an event to couple it, with a tour date. That's another thing, is if you've got an artist who's coming into town, their advanced playing dates are published on their website. And coupling and doing a reception afterwards, even for as few as 20 people. Also, did you do, and this is a checklist, do you see how the thing of 650 things adds up in a hurry? Did you use a professional photographer for some of it?
Just a regular camera. Yeah. Not an iPhone. Just.
Title tagging pictures. Title tagging pictures and archiving those pictures is huge. Do you guys see how the checklist builds, where you can brainstorm whatever things that you want to do in the environment, and you don't have to have a budget? Do you guys agree? That's a pretty aggressive statement. Do you guys agree or disagree with that? In this case scenario, do you see how there's an event that you can host at some music event person who comes, and their book signing, their CD signing, they could be doing a CD launch, okay, and half their CD sales proceeds can go to building awareness for your event. Do you see how the multiple party agenda thing works if you sit and brainstorm the person's agenda points?
Can you say the statement again?
Multiple party agenda fulfillment?
Oh, is that what when you're referring to? The aggressive statement.
It's extremely aggressive to say that you've got the ability to access most people just by figuring out what their agenda is, and for doing it for no money. Question?
Yeah, okay, so how do you, let's say you're trying to have a benefit concert with some celebrity, some
Okay.
musical group.
Okay.
How do you make a benefit concert sound appealing to a big, like,
Big
artist
act.
or musician?
A big act.
Who will probably demand money?
Okay. First thing you've got to be able to do for if you're trying to get an act together, in my opinion, is guarantee a packed house and to guarantee the PR that comes from that event, in my opinion. If you've got a person who's launching a book or a person who's trying to build awareness for that one inflection point of what it is that their agenda is, then you've got a better chance of getting that person there. But it's extremely challenging to get a big game act to do something for zero money, especially if it's not in line with what it is that they're already supporting. And can you bring that act on the back half of some other event that coincides with either their travel schedule or whatever existing event is? So that's why I bring up the whole Charlemagne thing, because you've got to look at a million little pieces for an event, and you've got to look at advanced scheduling, and you've got to look at like little different granular facets of bringing somebody in. And it's great if you can say, last year this group did it. This year we're hoping to get you guys to do it. And there's a little bit of they don't trust you unless you took really good care of a previous organization's thing. So does that help?
Yeah.
It's a huge challenge. Were you thinking about like bringing a certain band in for your
Yeah.
event? Okay. Ideally, it's an artist who's already going to do that same thing, and you're just lending your list. I built a list of 11,000 Asian Americans who wanted to go to fun, cool party stuff, and then plugging that list and promoting somebody else's pre-existing event, and then getting a co-branded name of, oh, thank you, Larry Chiang and Asian Americans for Action for showing up and helping us co-promote it. And then that way, that is your platform for then producing something solo or in conjunction with somebody else. But it's extremely hard to bring in a brand name act. You've got to try to figure out an act that currently supports some cause. But I'm happy to brainstorm and do it. It's so empowering when you map it out, because I think that any event, no matter how difficult, can be reverse engineered. I think getting on a bestseller list, I think that can be reverse engineered. Starting off with the high starting salary of a job, that can be reverse engineered. Doing a volunteer event where you're raising X amount of money with certain celebs, that can be reverse engineered, so long as you get mentorship from the people who just did it, and then copy paste the majority of what it is that they did, and then getting that blueprint. Everything can be reverse engineered, given it enough time and talent and persistence.
Like, what would you say like makes an event awesome? Like, you mentioned like celebrities.
PR.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting PR.
PR.
Getting PR. This world is, everyone's a PR whore.
Like,
Like
what do you
a
mean
journal
by-
article, like for me it'd be a journal, Wall Street Journal mention. For an artist, it could be a mention in Rolling Stone, or a blog from like their favorite blog. And I would ask them, hey, what blogs do you read? What journalists do you like? And that can be reverse engineered as well, where they need 3 pictures and 1 video, or a B-roll. A B-roll is where you've got video that they can slap into an article or something. It's called B-roll. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it.
Okay, and you mentioned like philanthropy and fundraising. Fundraising kind of obvious, but what's philanthropy? That's like causes. Just give
Right,
money.
right. And what you're trying to do is you, under your own brand, you're trying to align with an existing philanthropy or fundraising efforts, and then you're trying to augment it with the PR and the awareness building, where if you can't raise a lot of money, which if we're undergrads, we don't want to charge our friends, you know, 5, 10, 50 bucks, because that's kind of bad and tough. What we can do is build awareness or signatures or emails. And definitely do simple social media. Getting a photographer and properly tagging pictures. I mean, you can take, and this is what I did at an event that I wasn't speaking at Stanford Startup School, is I provided a photographer. I just shot 150 pictures and I slapped it in my Facebook album, and every time Paul Graham mentioned something, I mean, he had to use my Flickr pictures. He forgot to hire a photographer. It was me or my pictures that I bought or Scoble's pictures. So just, that's another, I mean, you want all the value of this event right now, okay? Spend 75 bucks and hire a photographer and take pictures of an awesome event. There's people that host events, they never take enough pictures. And after the event, who's ever hosted an event and be like, oh, I wish I would have had a picture of that shot? Is that scandalous to say that you should just take pictures of somebody else's event and properly tag them? The guy who takes the pictures gets a ton of the credit. The guy who takes a picture takes a ton of credit. Look up Brian Solis. I mean, he built a huge name on that. Dan McLennan from New York. He built a huge brand name for himself. And he gets a ton of access and networks at parties that he's never invited to, simply because he's taken a bunch of awesome photos. This world revolves around the minutia of details, and tagging a picture is a detail where most photographers, they don't upload their pictures because they got to plug it into their computer. And then, have you ever seen images? It's image GIF 0114. That's what's loaded up on the internet. It needs to be Jimmy Chen, Larry Chiang. Once it's tagged like that, it's visible in a lot of places. Is that a scandalous tip where you're just shooting pictures of other people's volunteer events? That is a way to volunteer too, right? Who thinks of Uber sketchy right now? This is how the world works, okay? I stopped being that guy who's like, oh my God, that total kiss ass is my boss and I hate that guy so much. He's such an idiot. Why is he making 2 times the money that he is, okay? I switched, okay, and I started joining that team. It's not a sellout, it's just how the world works, which is also how to kiss alpha butt, okay? Kenny, who's the jerk earlier, you know, Kenny, I'm a huge admirer of your work, but I really don't want to talk about that right now, okay? What I do want to talk about is maybe getting your involvement in potentially speaking at my event. How do you say no to that? Who would say no to that? Who would say no to, okay, you can email me about like kissing my butt more later? Who's got a person that they know from high school, okay, that's creating awesome results because they're such a kiss ass? Does anybody have a friend like that? You guys will have friends like that. They're disgusting. And you'll get critics. You guys have been a hugely great audience. Who else has questions? I totally appreciate you guys hanging in. I'm at full attention right now. Usually half the people I talk to fall asleep. And that's not true. It's about 60.
I don't know if you covered this at all, but you're talking about emails and keeping them updated.
Yes.
I've always found it kind of difficult to maintain connections that I already have, whether it's past employers, old professors. How do you keep the relationship fresh, I guess, so that you can ask them for favors later on when you haven't seen them in like years? And like, what are you supposed to say in your emails? Because
I'm so glad you're asking.
it kind of gets into like a, hi, like just checking in, how are you doing? I've been up to A, B, and C, hope you're doing well, like, and it's kind of hard to